Welcome back to another episode. We did it. We got our first buck down ever. And not only did we get our first buck, but we got it with a bow. It took 3 years to get our buck. This is my third season, and I had a lot of encouragement to get a bow. Huge shout out to my buddy, my ex-coworker, Brian. We used to work together. We both worked for the post office, but I transferred offices. While working together, he kept pushing me and pushing me and pushing me and pushing me to get a bow. And if it wasn't really for him, I probably wouldn't have crossed over that line of getting a bow. I always wanted to not only do bow hunting, but I always wanted to get into archery, but just I don't know what was holding me back. But Brian pushed me over that line, and thank you, Brian, for all of those pushing encouragements of getting a bow. But I've had a lot of encouragement throughout this hunting season. Not only the last couple seasons, but this hunting season. Brian, Monica, Leroy, Mario, Monica's long friend Brian, very positive of being successful this year. They said, it's your third year, you're gonna get it. It's your third year, you're gonna get it. You just got to keep going out, just keep going out. And I've had a lot of long days, and it was tough. It's tough, like going a lot of days being unsuccessful. It does mess with your mind a little bit. I've gone like a couple 15-16 hour days and just being unsuccessful. But I know it's part of the game. You got to put in your time. And so, we put in a lot of time. I got some venison right here. I got them all chopped up. And we're going to be making some venison tacos. It's a little windy, so apologize for the little shakiness of the camera. Came across so much animal life. A ton of doe, a ton of spikes, rattlesnake, and even a badger, which is pretty cool. We got our little setup right here. Tortillas. This is where we're gonna cook the venison. We got butter, we got my keys, but we got the venison right here. And for seasoning, we're gonna be using Kinder's Santa Maria with cracked pepper and herbs. Windy, but we're gonna season this guy up, get it all in there. So we came across quite a bit of bucks this season, and I had 2 opportunities that I missed. My coworker Brian told me to go down a road because I was losing hope. We were getting near the end of the season, and I was losing hope. But he's like, "Hey, bro, go down this road, walk into the wind, and just keep going, and you're gonna find one." And so I took his advice. I went down that road, I walked into the wind, and I came across this guy. He was a young fork, not a big fork. My wind was correct. He was just in a bush, about halfway into the bush, and I was on the right side of a hill. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna back out a little bit, wrap around this hill, and I'll be closer. I think at that moment I was about 80 yards around the hill. I was like, okay, I'll get to 80 to 50. So I backed out, walked around the hill. Once I got to the other side of the hill, I had forgot what bush that he was in. And so I walked too far around the hill to where I was out in the open to where he could see me. And by the time I figured out where he was staring directly at me and took off. And so I think at that moment I walked from my truck to where I saw the buck. He was about 1.5 miles through hills, and it's like sand dunes in a way. And so I went back to the truck, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to go and see if he slows down, if I can catch up to him and work my way in. I went onto a road that kind of veered off, and I was like, oh, let me just go check this out, exploring new spots. And I saw this really long fork, and a hunter drove by, boom, and ruined that hunt. So I thought, let me go a little further down this road. I got onto my truck, and I just started walking again into the wind, and I came across this buck right here. So I was like, okay, this is my opportunity. I'm not going to mess this one up. And I came up onto a hill to where I only had a solo bush, a small bush that was maybe like, I don't know, like 3 feet or something. That was my only cover that I had. It was on that hill. And he would walk toward me, he'd go away. He'd walk toward me, he'd go away. And he was doing this like broadside, he'd go away, come toward me, go away, come toward me. And he wrapped around this hill, and I was like, okay, I was preparing to make a shot. Not to make a shot then and there, just to get myself set up so when the time comes right to make the shot. He wrapped all the way around the hill, and I was just about to get up, and I was in this weird, awkward stance to where I was in a kneeling position trying to get up. And so I was stuck. The buck saw me because the only cover that I had was the bush. And so he stared at me for maybe 5 minutes. I was in this awkward position for 5 minutes. And I slowly stood up, and then his doe, I never knew there was a doe there. His doe got up from behind a bush, looked at me, took off, and he took off with her. And so I blew that one, and leading up to the day we got the buck, I got off work. I got off at about like 5:30, 6, and zoomed over to where I spotted these past 2 bucks. But my instinct told me, hey, before you go there, glass this hillside. And so that's what I did. I glassed that hillside. In 2 minutes, I saw this guy. He was a 3 by something. I assumed 3 by 2, but I heard there was a 3 by 3 in that area, and it was in an archery area. And so I saw this buck with a couple doe. I was like, okay, he's walking. I was game planning in my head. He's walking this way. I can't just go down and back up. It would be really tough because there are some really thick, tall trees once you get down into the canyon or whatever it's called, like into the bottom section. And so I was like, okay, in my head, if I go back where I came from, go down this road, go down that road, come in a little bit, park right here, walk into the wind. And because he was facing in a direction to where my game plan was, I was going to meet him. And so I got into the bush. I ran into this badger, and took a little video of him real quick. And I was like, okay, back to the mission. And so I went into the bush, into the brush, and slowly worked my way into him. By the time I got to where he was gone. He either must have turned around and went the other direction, or up the hill. I have no idea. And at that moment, when I got to where I first spotted him, it was a brown 7:30. It was like getting really close to end shooting light, and so I decided to give up on the day. I was near the bottom of the hill. I worked my way up the hill, just shortcut to my truck. I got into an area at the top of the hill where it's kind of out in the open. Like, I'm not walking through thick brush, and I see some deer. I thought, okay, let's does. Maybe there's a buck in there. I see 2 does, confirmed 2 does, and this one deer that I thought was a doe. He turned, whoa. That's my guy. Well, not the original one that I was after, but he was a shooter, a bigger fork than the past 2 forks that I seen. I don't know where that 3 by whatever went, but it wasn't this guy. He goes, whoa. That's my guy that I'm gonna get today. He chased his does into the brush, stopped at the end where the brush meets open field. He turned toward me. Whoa. I was holding my bow like this, and like probably the way that I was holding the bow, it has like a couple pot, like little my stabilizer, and then a couple of pieces that kind of look like, in a way, if I were a deer, I would think I was another buck. And so I don't know if he thought I was a threat, but he started running at me from about 100 yards. He ran to me 50 yards. My heart started pumping. He stopped about 50, turned around to his does, turned around back toward me, started running at me again. My heart was pounding. And so he stopped at about 30. And at 30, he kind of put his head down real quick, and I slowly drew back. And so coming to me, he veered off at an angle broadside. And I kept my arrow on his vitals, and he stopped. And then I told myself, if he stops one more time, I'm letting this arrow go. And he moved a little bit, stopped, boom. He took off into the brush, and I barely had service. I looked at my phone to see what time it was. I got a missed call from Leroy because I called him prior to that. So I called him right back. He goes, hey, what's up, buddy? I was like, I got one. And he goes, what? And so, everybody's basically done hunting. Leroy, Monica, Mario, and Monica's friend Brian, they went and met up with me in this area. We gave the buck some time to settle down. We all got together, and I told him, I was like, I got my from where my arrow was, it went all the way through him, fell into the ground. Perfect placement as a marker out in the open to where I could see it. We all got together and then drove out to the spot where my arrow was. It took a little while to find him because he was zigging, he was zagging. There's a little blood, there's a lot of blood, a little blood, a lot of blood. Grateful that, Monica's friend Brian, he's a really good blood tracker. And we found him.
Congratulations, buddy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, goodness
Hell yeah.
gracious.
Oh yeah.
Look at the size of his body.
Oh yeah.
He's a big boy. Perfect.
Gorgeous.
That is awesome.
Good, man.
First one.
Right in
Nice.
the boiler room.
Congratulations.
You should film this. Can you film?
I'm filming right now.
Yeah, so that's
Oh, man.
he's filling up.
That's
Martin
great.
did
Put your
it
hands on
by
him.
himself.
Put your hands on him.
That's better than a
Get on it.
freaking.
Yes.
Better than my personal halibut.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Heck yes.
Martin,
That's
what did
great.
you do?
We got one with Archery. First one ever. Nice. Just got off work and decided to come out here.
Hold your head up.
Luckily, I got off at a reasonable time, and I was going to go check out a different area, but something just told me to stop and check out this hillside. Ended up spotting a buck, not this guy, but a buck that was bigger than this guy, and tried to stock up on him. And Monica and Leroy ended up seeing me stock up on it, but I kept cruising that hillside.
Oh, this is so awesome. I am so happy for you. And we did say a hunter's prayer beforehand, and thank you all the hunters that came before us. Thank you, deer, for that's a big deer.
Yeah.
That's as big as my one last year, remember? That's 150.
It's a good body right there.
Yeah.
We should go get the scale.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to cut this off because I don't know how to share it with you because it's going to be really long. And everybody get lots of pictures.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Good job. Now the fun part comes.
No, you don't have to do the whole thing. Just a little bit.
There you go. You have now been christened. Oh. Isn't that like
Savage.
deadliest catch? You got to do a
Savage.
mackerel, or you got to bite the head off the mackerel, or whatever.
Yeah. They go here, Martin.
There you go.
He didn't get far. Maybe I must have been between 80 to 100 yards, and then he dropped and passed. Hopefully quickly. Got my first buck. Got to film my first tag, and super grateful to have the friends that I do to help me find this buck. Took the heart home, cooked it. It was really good. And after we retrieved the buck, Monica and Leroy helped me process it, skin it, and which I'm super grateful for them, because I've learned a lot from not only Monica and Leroy. I've learned from Brian, I've learned from Mario, I've learned from my coworker Brian, and I've just been taking all this information and putting it together in my head to game plan for a successful hunt. And so, I'm still learning, super excited for next year. There's our venison tacos right there, baby. Coleslaw. And I made a sauce to go on those tacos. But yeah, now super grateful for the deer and hard work put into getting it. And my freezer's full. I've already shared with some of the deer with some friends, with some family. Cheers. Some of the best tacos I've ever had. I make a little bit of a mess, but perfect. We're not done with hunting. We got rabbits to shoot. Quail season's coming up. I have a pig tag. Looking forward to get back into fishing. And this is a little. I wanted to take a few days off of hunting to go fishing to feel successful. But, I had, words of encouragement, just keep grinding. And, thank you, Monica. Thank you, Leroy, Brian, both Brian, Monica's friend, and Brian, my coworker, and Mario, for this year's successful hunt. I wouldn't have been able to be successful without you guys. And, I'm super excited to get back into fishing. What I'm going to do, Mike Pascola, that sells Calicovers, sent me some Calicovers and to give away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep some Calicovers on me, and I'm going to do it until I believe the packs that he gave me, until they're gone. If you see me out on the water, ask me if I got Calicovers, and if so, this 5-pack will be yours. And thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'm gonna enjoy eating this venison until it's gone. Not a single piece of meat's gonna go to waste. Thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. And until next time, we'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.